Hello and welcome back, hopefully. Having a bit of a nightmare with the internet today, which a lot of people have been doing. So fingers crossed we are back up and running again. So I was on this story here, which was a pedestrian who was hit by a car and then, whilst on the floor, was robbed by passerbys in New York City. Makes you want to go there, doesn't it? I really want to go there. Mind you, it's better than in Alabama. Residents got a fright over a real-life Chucky roaming the neighbourhood. Basically, the human Chucky was seen on photos standing at the side of the roads in residential neighbourhood, waiting for cars to pass. It was actually a 5-year-old dressed up as Chucky, and he was called Jackson. And he's world famous now for scaring the poop out of people. A bit like China. China's military has become significantly more aggressive over the past 5 years in the Pacific and in general, I would have said, says General Mark Milley, whom I know well for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I don't really know him well at all. But yeah, he's basically saying what we've all been saying, and except for Wigan Council, who think China's the best thing since sliced bread. But there you go, what can you do? Man charged for vandalising bakery advertising child-friendly drag show. Now I don't even know what a child-friendly drag show is, and I wouldn't be overly impressed if my child going to a child-friendly drag show, although I dare say some young children are into that kind of thing, which is fine, but I wouldn't necessarily vandalise somewhere advertising it either. In Italy, picky thieves return a tourist watch when they realised it was a fake, which I think polite, not picky. Excuse me, mate. We accidentally stole this from you, but we can't sell it because it's crap, so you can have it back. You go, Mamma mia, thank you very much. Although I think I've done the accents the wrong way around. But anyway, polite pickpockets. Unpolite robot. Chess-playing robot breaks 7-year-old opponent's finger in Russia. Now, one of the Russian spokespeople said this is not an image we wish to put out there, but the 7-year-old's finger was broken by the robot. Now, I can only assume they both went for the same piece at the same time, and the robot won in the squeezy, breaky bits that they had. An elderly Chicago woman loses $230,000 after a phone scammer accuses her of crimes. The 74-year-old was accused of criminal activity and handed over $230,000. Where do you get $230,000 to hand over? You must live in cuckoo land. Talking of which, Florida man drove stolen truck to Space Force on Biden's orders. Corey Johnson claimed that he was on an urgent mission from President Biden to warn officials about aliens fighting Chinese dragons. Yep, seems legit to me. Good job he's around, eh? So at least we know these things are going on. Vermont's McDonalds was evacuated after live ammunition explodes on the grill. A McDonald's restaurant in Vermont was evacuated Sunday after an employee threw live ammunition on a grill and it exploded. Well, who'd have thought throwing live ammunition onto a hot plate would cause an explosion? I mean, seriously, who? Secondly, who takes live ammunition to work with them? Oh yes, of course, it's America, so everyone. Historic wildfires set off unexploded World War I bombs in Slovenia. It's not just America who've got the issue of wildfires, and to a lesser extent the UK. Europe is burning as well, and in Slovenia there are bombs which are getting on for 100 years old, which have been in woods and forests and things, not harming anyone, not anything, and they're now going off because they're overheating, a bit like being thrown on the grill in McDonald's if you think about it, and exploding. So yeah, don't go for a walk in the woods that's on fire in Slovenia. American Airlines passengers were trapped on a boiling plane for 6 hours. Now this is happening a lot all over the place. Passengers on American Airlines flight were driven to mental breakdown when the delayed aircraft was left sitting on a runway for hours. Now, I must admit, I would be very unhappy about that if I was sat on a plane on the runway while temperatures were so hot and we were sat on the runway longer than we would have been in the air for the entire flight. So yeah. Another bloody weekend of gun violence in Chicago leaves 65 shot and 5 killed I must admit, I'm toning down the amount of gun shootings and things that Americans do. But this is Chicago. 5 dead, including a 16-year-old boy, and at least 60 others wounded between Friday night and early Monday, says the city's top cop. But remember, there's no problem with gun crime in America. Just ask the NRA, whatever they're called. Pennsylvania Republican attends gay son's wedding 3 days after voting against same-sex marriage. What? So, Republican Glenn Thompson attended his gay son's wedding only a few days after voting against a bill to protect gay marriage. I mean, how many levels is this bonkers? About 9, I've counted them. I mean, weddings don't happen overnight. It's not like he voted for it, he went home and he said, "Hey, you never guess what I've done, son." He said, "I've just voted against gay marriage because we're not having all them people getting married because it's disgusting, blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "Well, actually, Dad, I'm gay and I'm getting married in 2 days." "Oh, it's alright, son, I'll come to your wedding. I'll walk you down the aisle and everything." I don't get it. A teen charged with murder in a New York shooting death of 40. Remember, I've calmed these down. We're not having as many shootings as we were. Charges include murder and attempted murder, and the young teen where his friend was also wounded. And America thinks this is okay? They think the rest of the world think this is okay? I don't think so. Teen swimmer battling deadly brain-eating amoeba, fighting his little heart out. Caleb, who's 13, caught the life-threatening infection at Port Charlotte Beach in Florida on July the 1st. We've heard about these amoebas. I don't think amoebas can actually eat brain. I'm not an expert on these things. It's probably some other kind of virus or thing like that, but I think amoebas are getting bad press here. But hopefully the young lad will pull through. What, guns or amoebas? 320 million. Woman seeking revenge on ex-boyfriend accused of setting the fire to the wrong house. It caused about $20,000 worth of damage in North Carolina, and she was getting revenge on her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, and it wasn't even his house. It was someone else's house. It was wondering what the hell was going on. Tragic story again, another shooting. Teen's going to be okay after being shot in the Bronx. I assume that's what they call the nose over there. As the family beg the New York cops to do better. But the 16-year-old boy and 12-year-old girl were on Polite Boulevard around 11:30 p.m. when they were shot by a stranger rolled up in a car. I mean, what are you doing out at that time anyway in the Bronx? Seriously. Governor Hoyt signs a bill dropping mentally retarded from state use. Wow. It's like the 1980s all over again. The New York governor, Kathy Hochul, signed into law legislation removing easy for you to say, removing mentally retarded, there you go, you see, as an official term from state laws. From anything from alleged crimes to state of the arts. I must admit, when I was a teenager, I worked at a hospital and we had a geriatric ward, and my mother is now very elderly, and she was taken to hospital, and I asked one of the porters if she's in the geriatric ward, and he says, "Oh, we don't use words like that anymore." Can you imagine if I'd have said, "Oh, is she in the mental retarded unit?" But in America, that would have been fine up to this week. Well, in New York anyway. A Florida man allegedly stole 125 memorial vases from graveyard to sell as scrap metal. We're back to where we were in part 2, where I was going on about this guy taking plaques off memorials to hero soldiers. This guy's nicking 125 memorial vases to sell as scrap. The investigators have recovered 124 of them. So, again though, surely to God, if someone comes in with 100 and odd of these things, over, even if it's over a period of a week, you'd be like, whoa, hang on a minute. You know, I get it if he brings 1 or 2 in, but all these? You know, you scratch your head, wouldn't you? Most Americans don't think healthcare or gun violence will get better. I think gun violence will get worse, definitely. People actually are concerned about social issues. No, really? Just talk to them, they'll tell you this. But they don't have much hope left for progress, researchers have found. Yeah, basically, the normal Americans with brains have figured out that the Americans who are running the country haven't got a clue what they're doing, and they don't think it's going to get any better. Mysterious holes discovered on ocean floor, and they puzzle experts and spawn alien theories. No, we know nothing about the deep ocean levels. These holes, I mean, if you go on a beach in Southport or Blackpool or, I don't know, maybe even Florida, I don't know, you get these holes appear in the sand near the sea, and it's caused by some kind of wormy things. Now, unless we've dug down 50 feet into that and found an alien spaceship, it's going to be some wormy thing or something like that. It's not going to be aliens. These holes have been previously reported from the region, but their origin remains a mystery. Experts at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said, well, they're earning the money, aren't they? Whatever they're on, we need to at least double it and get someone who knows what they're doing. Then we've got record rain. Now remember, we've got fires going on all over America and Europe and everything, but we've got record rain causing heavy flooding in St. Louis. Early hours, killing one person and displacing many others, including a rather cute dog as well, which is nice. Not the fact it's been displaced, the fact it's a nice doggy. Now, I like my food, I like my burgers, I'm a big fan of them, but when I saw a picture of this, I'm like, I wouldn't put that anywhere near my mouth. However, inflation, it's New York City's Bodega favourite bacon and egg cheese. Not even the classic Bodega breakfast sandwich is safe from inflation. I don't think that's safe to eat. Never mind safe from inflation. That looks horrendous. It looks like the worst burger ever, and I've been to KFC in National-under-Lyme. Buzz Aldrin's Apollo 11 jacket sells for a record $2.8 million. Of course it's going to be a record. There's only one Buzz Aldrin jacket that he wore for Apollo 11. So it's going to sell for a record. If it sold for $20, it'd be a record. News sometimes is just stupid. A 102-year-old World War II veteran from segregated male unit is honoured. On Tuesday, the oldest living member of a World War II segregated male unit was honoured for her service nearly 8 decades after the war ended. Now, I'm not one to criticise people for their dental hygiene. Why would I? But my word, got a set of gnashes on over there, hasn't she? Whenever that picture was taken, and still now. So yeah, it's true what they say about Americans. They look after the teeth, except they don't. It's all a lie. Los Angeles driver barrels truck into gas station, knocking over pump and injuring 11, including children. A pickup truck barreled into Los Angeles gas station on Tuesday, knocking over a fuel pump, hitting other vehicles and leaving at least 11 people, including 5 kids, injured. It's a miracle that the thing didn't go up in flames, because if you've ever watched a movie where anything's even just gone into a petrol station too fast, it blows up like something chronic. I give you Robocop. The Loch Ness Monster may be real, scientists now say. Inspiration for the monster is said to have come after the discovery of a Plesiosaurus fossils in 1823. So basically, they've got these fossils, and it's a aquatic dinosaur with a long neck and a head on it. So it's a bit like that, and it kind of swims around, and it's been dead because the dinosaurs died out. And they're saying now that people are jumping to the conclusion that could be the Loch Ness Monster. Apart from the fact that these fossils were found on the other side of the planet, and there's been not a single sighting or anything of these fossils within 20,000, no, not 20,000 miles, but in 10,000 miles, 5,000 miles of Loch Ness. So no, you're just jumping on something just to try and get people to go to Loch Ness again, which, to be fair, I do intend to do at some point. I'm as guilty as everyone else for the thing. More human remains are found amid receding water levels on Lake Mead. A third set of human remains has been found on the shores of Lake Mead as mega drought causes reservoir levels to drop to their lowest since the 1930s. Now, if you watch gangster movies and that kind of thing, they always weigh people down and chuck them into lakes and rivers and things, don't they? So maybe that's what they're finding. Or maybe it's people who've gone swimming. Or maybe it's people who died 5,000 years ago and the bones have been washed up out of the soil when the valley was filled and they've just floated to the surface. I don't know. Black family sues Sesame Place, which is a theme park in America for Sesame Street, for alleged discrimination. A Baltimore family is suing Sesame Street themed amusement park for $25 million over claims of racial discrimination. Now, if it's the same family who were whinging in the morning about one of the puppets not waving to their children because they were black, like I've said before, I've seen lots of puppets in amusement parks not wave to kids of any denomination because you can't wave to everyone. But $25 million? Nah. Go away. And then go a bit further and then just keep going until you fall in the sea. Thank you. North Korea's Kim Jong-un threatens to use nukes amid tension with the US and South Korea. Whoa, we're all quaking in our boots now, aren't we? Oh, no. The fiery speech by Kim comes as his country faces a battered economy connected to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, yeah, it's going to be the end of the world. No. A Hawaii couple with possible KGB ties charged with stealing IDs of dead babies. I was like, what? A Hawaiian couple have been charged by federal authorities with stealing the identities of dead babies decades ago, and they might have past ties to the KGB. Now, I don't know how it works, but when there's a tragedy of a child dying, there is a death certificate, as there is for all of us, issued. It's then put on record, and it is then done that, you know, this person was born on such a date, died on such a date. Now, I know in the older days people could nick babies' names because there was a paper record and it was only in churches and things like that. But nowadays you can't really do that, so you can't nick someone's name and then try and be them with their date of birth and everything, and say, you know, I'm like, you know, Florence Nightingale, and I was born on such a date, but the baby called Florence Nightingale died like 2 days after birth. But obviously, if they'd have lived, they'd have been my age now. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So surely what we need to do is update the records, go all the way back, you know, maybe 50 years, and then anyone who turns up with this name and date of birth, you're like, whoa, hang on a minute. I don't think so. I don't think so. Or I don't know. Right. Next up, a Florida man was charged with DUI after driving a scooter into Walmart shelves. Scooter, you know, not a air dryer on the street. This is a mobility scooter. Don't drink and scoot. A Florida man was charged for zipping around on a motorised shopping cart while wasted in Walmart. We've all wanted to do it. I mean, I worked at Asda, which when it was owned by Walmart at the time, and at night time, we nearly had a couple of races on the scooters, but we weren't wasted, to be fair. The Air Force. Now this terrifies me. Now last week we had the dog with the rifle on it. Air Force are testing system to stop active shooters with robots and drones. The US Air Force is testing a system that uses artificial intelligence and drones aimed at putting a stop to an active shooter. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, seriously, what could possibly go wrong with AI? With live ammunition taking out a gunman. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I think that'll be fine. Absolutely fine. Remind me not to go to America anytime soon. Not that I was going to do anyway. Oregon wildfire suspect tied to tree by citizens who caught him. I think this is brilliant. A man believed to be connected with wildfires burning in a remote southwestern Oregon forest on Monday was tied to a tree by the citizens who caught him, officials said. Sadly, the tree wasn't one of them that caught fire. but the police arrested him and he's currently being questioned on suspicion of starting a fire, a wildfire. A Nashville man busted with 15,000 fentanyl-laced pills. A Nashville man arrested on Tuesday was found in possession of 15,000 pills laced with fentanyl following a month-long investigation. It took them a month to notice he had 15,000 pills. I mean, I think you notice after they had about 100. But something else you'd probably notice. No recollection. A Michigan woman unaware of a bullet lodged in her head for a week. A Michigan woman had a bullet lodged into her head for nearly a week, but has no recollection of how she was wounded by the apparent stray gunfire. The last thing she remembers was going into a McDonald's. I'll let you put 2 and 2 together and get 4 on that one, because I thought that was pretty quick. I'll be honest with you, I like that one. Now, I don't know about you, but I've heard the old story about, women liking men in uniform and stuff like that, but a military museum asks guests to stop having sex while visiting. There are people having sex in a museum, an army military museum, because they get turned on by the dolls wearing uniforms. I mean, they don't do it like in front of them, they go behind the scenes. So they go behind displays or behind cabinets or whatever. But, I mean, what? Really? Really? Nah, you don't need to be doing that. Ah. A Florida woman was caught on camera stealing a $2,800 puppy from a pet store. You could say they're just fixing the plumbing. Well, they're certainly testing the plumbing out, aren't they? Talk about fixing it. If the puppy gets stressed in any way and the puppy doesn't eat and doesn't get the supplement that we normally give it, it could die, Susan Minix warned. But yeah, she tried to smuggle it out by shoving it up her fleece. So she kind of went like that and shoved it up her fleece. I mean, yeah, best shoplifter ever. And $2,800 for a puppy. I know dogs are expensive, but bloody hell. Next up, Brawl cuts Philadelphia wedding short. Now this is a brawl. Now a brawl in Britain is when someone, two uncles get drunk and have a bit of a scrap at the bar, take it outside, smash a few glasses, and one of them ends up with a bloody face. But no, after a woman was shot by another guest. A Philadelphia wedding was devolved into chaos on Wednesday night when a group of female guests began brawling, according to authorities. And one of them got shot. That's not a brawl. That is a gun crime. A brawl is fisticuffs. This is the last one, thank God. A ghost channeling woman drops a sexual assault suit against Bob Dylan. The case is over. It is outrageous that it was ever brought in the first place. We are pleased that the plaintiff has dropped this lawyer-driven sham and the case has been dismissed. Reading between the lines, a woman is trying to sue Bob Dylan for sexually assaulting a woman who's dead, but has come through this woman to tell this woman to sue Bob Dylan because she was sexually assaulted before she died by Bob Dylan. It makes Wagatha Christie sound good. And thereof ends the broadcast for tonight. So another quick reminder that we are celebrating a victory of sorts of getting 2,000 subscribers for the first time on the YouTube channel, which I'm really chuffed about. And views in the last 28 days of over 29,000 hours. No, minutes. No, that's views, isn't it? That's actual clicks. Watch time.